Paging Dr. X.
A controversy brewing in the city of Philadelphia over whether teenagers should carry beepers.
The great pager outage is slowly being overcome tonight.
Mom, we got a better idea. We'll page you.
Beep Fair Auto Stereo, where Beeper Man's got pager deals all month.
Edmonton Telephones, your total communications company, will save you time and money. Call Edmonton Telephones now. Tell them Leonard Nimoy gave you the message.
This is a custom beeper that I built in 1 week. Sort of. I recently started a new position at this company, Sentry, and I joined just in time to join their annual Hack Week, where employees are encouraged to spend 1 week working on a passion project. A lot of people added really cool features to the product, but I made a beeper. If you aren't familiar with Sentry, it helps to know that one of the things they do is they can send alerts to developers when their apps or websites go down or experience a problem. And developers normally receive those alerts on traditional notification platforms like email, Slack, or text message. But what if we wanted a true on-call pager? This is the Sentry Alert TX1, a resin 3D printed beeper powered by an Adafruit Feather ESP32 board with a small TFT screen and a few buttons. We have it listening on something called the MQTT protocol, which allows us to send and receive messages on small and low powered devices like the ESP32. To make it work, we have a small server running that listens for webhooks from Sentry containing information about errors in our apps, do a little processing to it, and then we send it to our beeper via MQTT. But it also has a lot of other fun features besides receiving alerts, like custom themes and games, including your favorites like Pong, Snake, and even a Guitar Hero clone, though it's currently a little broken. And it wouldn't exactly be a beeper if it didn't beep. So there's a built-in library of available ringtones to choose from. And it couldn't possibly be considered complete if it didn't have the Kim Possible beep. All built in 1 week. Again, sort of. I'm gonna tell you right now, I cheated in so many ways. I knew Hack Week was coming up, so I started planning several weeks ago to give myself the best shot at completing this project on time. Originally, I wanted to have the beeper have a cellular connection, but it turns out there isn't a lot out there right now for development boards with cellular service, and what does exist is absolutely massive. I eventually landed on this Adafruit Feather ESP32 board, which is Wi-Fi only. Even so, it worked out great because there's tons of documentation and tooling out there for these, and that was going to come in handy. Things like 3D models, which helped me design the 3D printed case. And it only took a few iterations. And not everything went according to plan, but in the end we got there. I got really comfortable with Fusion 360 during this process, and this was really the first time I ever designed an enclosure of any kind for a dev board. Once I got my first prototype design ready, I decided to try something else for the first time. This was also my first time working with a resin 3D printer, and I think I'm fully addicted now. The quality of the parts is amazing. They're both really strong and come out looking nearly like they were injection molded, though far from flawless. I got it in my mind to try replicating that 80s and 90s clear plastic look, like my original purple Game Boy Color. I used water washable resin and some purple dye, and that works like a charm. The final result looks fantastic. And it would look even better after a light sanding and a clear coat, but I still haven't gotten around to that. On a side note, curing the purple resin under a UV light looks super cool. It has this fluorescence effect that looks straight out of a science fiction movie, and it really looks like that in real life. The board needed just 2 additional parts to complete the beeper. An LED for notifications, and of course we need a speaker to play our ringtones. Now, because of this thing's super small size, and the fact that it only supplies 3.3 volts, our options were pretty limited for what we could use. But I was able to find this 9025 passive buzzer, which was super tiny. Now, this isn't really a speaker, it's a buzzer. But we can produce tones with it by driving it with a square wave, and that's good enough to play our retro ringtones. And we can use any of the output pins on our board to do it without any additional hardware. This is about as small and simple as it gets for any component capable of making sound. One terrible soldering job later, and we're in business. For the code, while I do have some experience with Arduino and C++, it has been a while. And this was a tall order to pull off in such a short amount of time, so Cursor built it for me instead. Yes, I wrote almost no lines of code at all. Instead, I spent a week chatting with an AI agent telling it what to do. And honestly, it was pretty great. I know some folks are going to have certain opinions about this, but it was interesting as an experiment to see how capable AI was and how much it was able to aid me in completing a large task in under a week. It did start out a little rough, but once the boilerplate of the project was properly in place, Cursor using Claude Sonnet 4 was able to build out and iterate on most of the features I asked for pretty easily. It was even helpful in reading the serial logs off of the ESP32 to debug errors as I was developing. So rather than spending my time worrying about the specifics of the implementation, I instead dictated what external libraries to use and how to structure the project, taking more of a role of like a developer project manager instead of a software engineer. If you're wondering if the code looks like slop now, well, I'm sure it could be a little cleaner, but I'm extremely impressed and happy with where it is right now, and I think continuing to develop on it is going to be a pleasant experience. Even if I decide to continue with a slightly more hands-on approach, I will definitely continue to involve Cursor in a lot of the heavy lifting. All of the code and STL files are on GitHub, so if you want to make one yourself or just want to take a look at the code, I'll have a link in the description, as well as a full write-up can be found on my blog. And finally, I was recently told there may be another Hack Week at the end of the year, so until then, I'll see you next time.